Hello and welcome to this edition of the Podium, which is coming to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, Asmi Yuba. Our quote of the day comes from Frederick Douglass, who is an American author. It says, "Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe." Coming up in today's edition of the program, Minister of Information says the government is concerned about the water scarcity in Freetown. Center for Accountability and Rule of Law releases a report titled "The SLP versus the SLP Unfair Targeting or Lawlessness." And 24 years of existence, Countess of Podium Connection gets its first elected bishop. All these and more, including your text messages, which you can be part of by inboxing us on 088-373-504. 088-373-504 is the number you can send your text messages to. The program is Podium. The number you can send your messages to is 088-373-504. The Minister of Information and Communications, Mohammed Bangura, has held his maiden press conference in Freetown, where he spoke on several issues bordering on state matters, where he spoke on the current water crisis and the recent fracas between the Sierra Leone People's Party and the Sierra Leone Police. Well, for months now, Freetown has witnessed acute water shortage, exposing the government to serious criticisms by members of the public. Well, in the studio today is the Minister himself. Welcome to the program, Mr. Minister.
Thank you very much, Asmi.
This was the first time you had an interaction with the press as Minister of Information and Communication.
Yes.
So how significant was such an encounter with the press?
Very significant. The fact that my first maiden press conference, we came across varieties of issues, numbers of challenges we are facing as a government, the water crisis, the electricity, and so on and so forth. So it was an opportunity for me to address or attempt to address the concerns of Sierra Leoneans.
Okay. Well, let's start to look at the first issue, the issue of water. Your press conference came just days or 1 week after the Coalition of Civil Society issued 21 days ultimatum to the Goma Valley Water Company, either improve on the supply of water or the management and board resign.
Let us move beyond ultimatum. What we have to now face as a country is the fact that we have challenges, and those challenges go beyond governments alone. We need a collaborative approach at this point in time, and this is our country. The issue of ultimatum or criticism without solution will not solve any problem. So in my press conference, I let the people know that as a government, we are not blaming anybody, we are not shifting responsibility, we are not spinning anything. We are facing a challenge of water crisis. The government is determined to put that issue behind us. That is why there was an emergency measures of water provision. We brought out the water bowsers, we brought out the tankers to move around the private community so that we can redress the issue as Mr.
Minister, the civil society organizations are saying that this is the same point that the government has been saying for years now, that we are going to solve the problem, we are going to do this, we are going to do that, but it has not reflected on the ground. People are suffering for water, Mr. Minister.
I will tell you for sure the water problem is an embedded problem. You know, we inherited it. The SLPP inherited it from another government. So it is not a day solution. When you look at the way Freetown is designed, it's so overpopulated. The only dam we have has been overused. You know the pipes are outdated. So it's a process for us to get there. But the beauty with this process is the fact that the water situation is also better in the provinces and than it used to be. So all we are saying at this point in time, we know the problems are there, and as a government, we are going to look into them, we are going to address them. Let me tell you, as people, there are a lot of competing needs, you know, in this country.
But water should be, you know,
of course, it's one of them.
Issue.
It's one of them. It's one of them. Water is an election issue, in fact. You know, so we are not taking it lightly, and the government is putting everything in place to make sure that we redress this.
But there are also some policy challenges. Take, for instance, the Ministry of Water Resources is not supervising the Guma Valley Water Company. Guma Valley is being supervised by the NCP, the National Commission for Privatization.
The president made it very clear. Time for policy. This is not time for policy. This is a crisis point that we have to address. We don't want to see our teenage girls 2 o'clock at night to fetch water. In the process, a lot of bad things will happen to them. So this is not the time for policy, this is time for implementation. And the president has made it very clear. We are going to head-on address this water situation.
Okay, the other day,
just wants to appeal to the public.
The other day, the president had a meeting at State House wherein those who are concerned, the Ministry of Water Resources, for instance, Guma Valley and others, were in attendance. Where the key issues discussed?
The same issues of how we can address the situation. And we had firm commitments from the institution concerned that this matter will be laid to bed. And when you look at what is now happening, the movement within the sector itself, I am pretty confident that the water situation will be a thing of the past. You know, we have an election coming, and we don't want the crisis, the election to be the crisis.
So are you taking it serious now because elections are...
No. Water is life. Water is life. Election or elections. But I told you earlier on, these are election issues. So you don't play with them. These are bread and butter issues.
Okay, now let's come to another issue before I come to Ibrahim Tomi, the fracas between the Sierra Leone People's Party and the SLP. The SLP people are saying they were unfairly treated by the Sierra Leone police. Some of their members were arrested. The day that they should have celebrated the 65th birthday of their party, they were denied that. The police, according to them, entered into their premises and made some arrests.
I heard Tommy this morning. I think he was straight to the point. The issue here is about the SLP and supporters of the Sierra Leone People's Party. One thing came out very clear, that they did not have the required document to go out. And we have rule of law in this country. Let us just adhere to the rule of law. As to the way the police approach the issue, it's a different ballgame. But the fact remains that the SL people were not allowed to go out at that particular point. And because they breached the laws to go out, and there was skirmishes between themselves and police and damages.
Excessive force.
You call the police to defend themselves on that issue. But what I know as a government, there is peace and tranquility. Yeah, and the police also have a constitutional function to maintain law and order.
Within the realm of the
law. Within the realm of the law, of course.
Within the rules of engagement.
Within the rules of engagement. They will talk on that issue. But I will just tell you the lay down rules. If somebody threatening state security, if somebody is threatening the peace of the ordinary Australian, you definitely have to restrain that individual. Definitely. If that has been interpreted to excess use of force, it's a different ball game.
This would not good for the country's image. Every time and again people say the opposition's office is being stormed and attacked by the police. It's not good.
Let's put it that way. It is not a right because you are in opposition to flout the law. That is the reason in advanced democracy they don't ask who you are. They don't ask who you are. You are not allowed to go that particular day, period. So if we put it in a broader perspective, you created that situation of violence that particular day, and liability rested in you. That is what transpired at that particular day.
So what has been the APC's response to that?
We understand
that there were some discussions behind the scene between the SLP and the APC.
You know, I had Ibrahim Tomi this morning making reference as to how many times the SLP have witnessed, encountered confrontation with the Sierra Leone People's Party and the APC at the same time. We are a law-abiding political party, so no need for us to face confrontation with the police. But let me tell you what transpired. When that incident took place at a particular time, 3 days after that, a delegation led by the former vice presidential nominee of the party, Dr. Kadisise, was led to State House to plead to the president. She pleaded to the president to intervene for the release of the detainees, and in the process accepted responsibilities that they are faulty, that they were not granted permits to go out that day. So all what took place is their own fault. In their own words, we beg for mercy.
So did the president grant them mercy?
Well, it's just not the president's issue. This is an issue of rule of law. The president just refer them to state institutions, that is the police and the courts.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We shall talk on other issues. He is the Minister of Information and Communications, Mohammed Bangura. The program is Podium, reaching you from Freetown. Send your messages to the number 088-373-504. Well, the Center for Accountability and Rule of Law has released a report titled The SLP versus the SLPP Unfair Target or Lawlessness. Well, the report looks at the reasons that led to the skirmishes on Independence Day that led to the arrest of more than 20 people. Well, Carl, according to the report, is calling on the Independent Police Partnership Board to investigate the way the police handled the fracas. Out in the studio is the Executive Director of Carl, Ibrahim Tomi. Welcome to the program, Ibrahim Tomi.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
We should be mindful this matter is already in court.
It is.
And your report is coming at a time that the matter is in court. How would you ensure that you do not prejudice the matter?
No, nothing to do with the matter before the court. We have not. This report doesn't touch on the allegations against the accused persons. It really discusses the broad human rights issues, the rule of law issues, and generally the governance issues arising from the April 27 independence. And we have described the incident as unfortunate, not least because of the acts of violence that occurred on that day, but also because of allegations of police brutality against citizens. We fully support the ongoing investigation and certainly the trial of those who are deemed to have been responsible for those acts of violence, including the destruction of public property. But we also think that police officers who are deemed to have basically used excessive force, high-handed measures to suppress the protest should be brought to account. Thankfully, we have the Independent Police Complaints Board. That is why, again, credit to the Sierra Leone government, that board has been set up. It's got a job to do. We have shared a report with them. We will do a cover letter urging them to take this report seriously. But yeah, those are the broad issues.
I mean, in your report, you quoted the spokesperson of the police, ASP Ibrahim Kamara. He no sooner that incident happened on that particular day than he said they responded to the Sierra Leone People's Party because the party, according to him, did not have the right to come out, but they insisted they came out and the police had to intervene. He said they did not use excessive force.
I mean, there are some things that we've got to lay out there from the get-go. First, we have looked at the way the police is basically using how it is discharging its mandate under our constitution, because the police is a constitutional body, but also how it is exercising its powers under the Public Order Act of 1965. What the Public Order Act states is that citizens who wish to organize a procession must apply directly or notify the Inspector General of Police. The law hasn't created any intermediary. What the police has done by signing an MOU with the Orderly Union basically creates an intermediary, and that intermediary, it causes two problems. First, you are now urging, basically compelling citizens or groups of citizens to belong to a union. They don't have to belong to a union to exercise their constitutionally guaranteed right. That is the first problem. The second problem is that the bylaws of the Orderly Union require folks who want to organize a procession or a parade to have done so 30 days ahead. And the law, with respect, doesn't impose such a restriction on citizens. So it's a rule of law issue.
So in other words, what the Union is asking for, what the law says are
completely different.
Completely.
So we think that MOU is completely inconsistent with the law and needs to be reviewed in a way that ensures that it is in consonance with the Constitution as well as the powers of the Inspector General under the Public Order Act. Now, on the question of what the SLPP said about whether they had a permit or not, let's be clear.
It all started from there. Because had they not come out, the police wouldn't have released tear gas, for instance.
As it is now, based on what we have seen and all the documents, and by the way, we have interviewed all of these actors. As it is now, clearly, based on the MOU between the Sierra Leone police and the Odele Union, the SLPP sadly did not have a police clearance. You know, the reason is this. By March 23rd, the Odele Union had already submitted the list of masquerade dancers who wanted to dance on during the Easter holidays and on Independence Day. So remember, even if, as the SLPP claimed, they wrote a letter on the 12th of April, by the 12th of April, they were already outside that 1 month notice period. So clearly, that is why we think the MOU is faulty. Even if we accept, for the sake of argument, or even assume without conceding that the SLPP indeed paid the renewed registration fee of 350,000 leons and a bottle of rum, whatever it was, they were already outside that 1 month requirement by the bylaws of the Odele Union, and certainly by the MOU between the Odele Union and the Sierra Leone police. So that's not even the issue. The issue is that they did not get the permit through the Odele Union or even directly from the Sierra Leone police, because the letter that they copied, remember, they copied the Inspector General of Police on a letter. They did not address it to him on the issue of police permit. So that's clear. So that's why we're looking at the management, the governance of how you make an application for procession.
Okay, another issue your report brought out is the well, I will not say the collapse, but the inefficiency of the chain of command in the Sierra Leone People's Party. The chairman of the party did say that he told his men not to come out because they did not get permits, but other members of the executive say no, whether we had permit or not, we are going out.
Clearly, there's an internal governance issue with the Sierra Leone People's Party based on, again, on this specific issue. As we spoke to the chairman of the party, we spoke to the director of administration, and indeed the public relations officer. What came out clearly is this. Now, the chairman told us that he warned them against the public procession because, according to him, he believed that they did not have the police permit to do so. If there was a central command structure, I would have thought that they would have certainly heeded his advice, but did not. Apparently, they ignored it. That's an issue that the SLP have got to address. Having said that, all of what happened after that, the way the police responded to it, allegations of brutality, using, these are all allegations of use of live ammunition. Those are completely reprehensible, unacceptable.
So did your report go beyond the allegations?
To cover what?
To know whether the police indeed use live.
No, I do not have the mandate to do that. The IPCB hopefully will look into issues like that. They can actually summon witnesses, expert witnesses, of course, to come and provide.
So what was the police reaction? Did you? I'm sure you must have spoken to them.
Oh yes, the police. I'm not the only one who may have had them. Their point is they have a mandate, a constitutional mandate to maintain law and order. That is not in dispute. Nobody has challenged that. My point is, and has always been the same, that in enforcing the law, you have a responsibility to do so within the confines of the law. I saw on AYB TV today, and by the way, I saw those images for the first time this morning. I was really livid on TV. I couldn't bear seeing those images of police officer having arrested a suspect, beating a woman up. I was so mad. If I had seen those images before now, I'm sure something else would have been, it would have been worse by now. I didn't like it. I'm not, apart from the fact that she was a woman, but in this day and age, a police officer shouldn't be beating up a suspect. Anyone who is arrested by the police is presumed innocent, even when you are convicted. Now we have the Correctional Services Act. We have basically abolished all of those very cruel punishment. You don't beat up anyone. Those are corporal punishment, even under our laws, completely abolished.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Tommy. Mohamed Bangwa, I'm sure you also must have seen that. We also showed that clip on SLBC TV where a policeman held a woman and the woman was being beaten. She was being dragged. I mean, that's not a good sight.
Of course. Did you also know what transpired behind the scene? Do you also know that there were cocktails of bombs, locally made bombs, thrown at the police? You know, you're talking about beating up a suspect. See what is happening in civilized countries. When police officers' lives are threatened, immediately they are ordered to shoot. Here you're talking about beating up. And see the danger.
But the person being beaten maybe was a harmless person.
Well, the assumption. Assumption. This is a professionalized police force. They operate within the functions of the duties and the constitutional mandate. They have a duty here. We're talking about somebody beaten up. How about the damage being perpetrated by these people? It was a premeditated violence because they were throwing at cocktail-made bombs to police officers. So you know it was premeditated. What do you want the police to do? Let them sit down and wait till the hooligans take over the city? See what is happening in civilized countries. When lives and properties are threatening, they use excessive force. Sometimes even use of life.
But that is the last resort.
Of course.
But people say our police force are now trigger happy.
Asmiru,
no sooner an incident breaks out than they just release.
Thank God, live bullets. We did not hear a case of any fatality here yet. So it tells you the police were professionals and they are up to it. You're talking about the public holidays where Sierra Leoneans are enjoying with their families.
And that was a national day.
Of course. It's a national day.
It's not good.
As
a day that should have
tell it to the SLPP that you were not granted a permit to go out. For heaven's sake, enjoy within the premises of your party. You yourself have quoted the SLPP chairman. The leader, the chairman of the party, told them, stay here, let us enjoy here, let us dance our own table here, let us do what we have to do here. They said, no way we are going out because they are SLPP. And when you go out, you break the law enforcement agents will make sure they confine you in a particular place.
Okay, thank you very much. He is Mohamed Bangura, the Minister of Information. The program is Podium, coming to you from Freetown. Well, after 224 years of existence, the Hotindon Connection of Sierra Leone has elected its first bishop. Or the nomination has been overseen by the Chief Superintendent. Well, in the studio is Reverend Theophilus Digo Nikun, is the bishop. Welcome to the program, sir.
Welcome.
How did it take so long for almost 2 centuries without a bishop?
Well, as a mission, we are searching the scriptures, and our constitution at that time could not allow us to have a bishop. But most pastors are now theologically trained, and we have read the word, and we see it now. It is a mandate not to call the head of mission superintendent, but bishop.
Is it that for more than 200 years you couldn't have someone who would have met the criteria of becoming a bishop?
No. Well, we just don't follow other trends or other people. We are trying to make sure that what we do, and when we do it at the right time.
Okay. Now, so what's the strength of your membership in Sierra Leone?
Well, we are about 1,500 national-wise.
Okay. Do you have a national representation? Are you in all the country?
Yes, we are in the western area. We are in the eastern province, and we are in the northern province.
Okay. Now let's look at your contributions over the years, for the past 200 years. Because if, for instance, you talk about the method, you talk about the Anglicans, people know them. People say they have contributed. The Catholics, for instance, they've contributed not only to religion but to education as well. Have you also followed that path?
Yes, we have about 34 primary schools, and almost all of the schools are paid by the mission. The government is only paying about 1/3 of teachers, and we have contributed in the training of pastors. We train pastors even though they are not members in our church. Some pastors that the Hotindon Connection have trained are now bishop, some are now heads of parastatal and the like.
Well, thank you very much, Bishop Bishop Theophilus Dio Nicol. The program is Podium, coming to you from Freetown. We are going for a short break. After the break, the program continues. We are back with the program Podium, which is coming to you from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, Asmiba. Well, the coalition of youth organizations has raised concern over the postponement of the NPSC by the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. When since the postponement, members of the public have expressed disappointment as to why the ministry had to postpone the exam in the first place. Yesterday, after a meeting at State House with the Ministry of Education, WAEC and SLTU, a new date has been proposed, meaning on the 28th of May, there is going to be the NPSE. Well, Bernard Conte is here with us. Welcome to the program, Bernard.
Well, thank you.
The issue is not settled.
Of course, yes. We were yesterday with the Ministry of Education and some other stakeholders at the conference room when we had the resolution from the ministry. As a civil society, we believe in engaging the government, dialoguing with the government rather than always criticizing the government. The aspect of criticizing is a kind of you have to be kind of objective than always becoming kind of a critical or an opposition, because being always gnashing or hitting on the government will never change the situation. What we did as civil society organizations, we came together yesterday, we had a press conference, and we said there were resolutions we stated on our press release that one, we are calling on the people of Sierra Leone, that is the parents of those children, to really see the need, and we are going to ensure that the Ministry of Education should come up with a clear date and with immediate effect. That's what happened yesterday. And yesterday we had a meeting with them, and they came up with a date that on the 28th that will be the date for the NPSC exams. And also there is a communique which they signed yesterday, which some people don't even know. It was signed by the Minister of Education, WAEC, SLTU, and we're also looking at the Conference of Principals, also the teachers, whatever, SLT, whatever it is. All of them signed yesterday a communique that the ministry said if you're going to commence the 28th of May will be the date for the exams, when will you issue out the result? And they all signed that on the first week of August, they will come out with the result. And that is a clear indication that we did our job yesterday. And some people just believe that the issue of inciting people is the best solution, which is very bad.
Who incited who?
There is a civil society headed by a young man called Hill Salon, or whatever it is. The young man is Sano, whatever. Sano was on radio 98.1 inciting other people, whatever it is, whether he said the parents are going to strike, whatever it is. And we saw it that is not the main.
Was that an incitement?
Of course, yes. Because
he
he didn't consult with the government.
He said if the Minister of Education did not come out with a specific date, he is going to ask parents to come out. That's not incitement.
Let me make it very clear.
That's a precondition.
The problem here is very clear. Yesterday, Mr. Ndulu, who is the head of WAEC, I was with them all of them yesterday. Mr. Ndulu, in fact, the registrar who is a Nigerian based in Ghana, he has the power to reinstate or to fire any head of WAEC. What happened? The convention of the WAEC, which is the constitution of WAEC, it is very clear that as soon as you are 60 years old, not a day will be added on that age. You have to resign your position. It will be given to another person else. What happened? The registrar of the registrar who is based in Ghana extended the term of Mr. Ndulu, which is very wrong, and it is not in the convention of WAEC.
But there are reasons for that.
Because there are a lot of things which we know that it was not in the interest of the people of Sierra Leone. Looking at it yesterday, when we went through everything, it is a clear indication that Mr. Ndulu violated the convention of WAEC.
I mean,
and that is very clear.
Ndulu did not increase, he didn't give himself more time in the office.
He was working in consonance with the registrar.
No, but Mr. Ndulu had earlier on written a letter to the registrar reminding the registrar that on so and so date he was going to attain age 60. And they didn't reply to him. He wrote another second letter reminding them that his retirement time was due. So meaning he was willing to go.
No. He wasn't willing. He was not willing.
So how is it that he wrote two letters then?
Let me make it very clear. There are a lot of, let me make it very clear that we have a lot of evidences here against Mr. Ndulu. And that is why on our own press releases,
evidences of what?
A lot of documents, and we are saying it here. I'm going to say it with authority.
Evidence of what?
I said we have documents which he wrote to the Minister of Education and which he also wrote to the registrar himself. We want to make it very clear, if Mr. Ndulu didn't resign that position, we are going to come out with a lot of evidences against him, and we will also call on
evidence
the
of
ACC and the police to arrest him. Because
or what?
we are not talking about Mr. Look at the malpractices in the WAEC. A lot of results, how many malpractices in the WAEC, and he is involved in those processes. And we have evidence for the fact in a lot of them.
In those examinations.
A lot of things. I have a lot of documents.
Mind you,
I'm very serious about
that. That's a very strong allegation. So
that's what we say.
I advise you keep those allegations off air now, because he's a person, he's an individual, he's entitled to his respect. So these are strong allegations you're making. Maybe you can forward them to the ACC or whatever.
Of course, yes, and we'll make it public as well. We have all of these documents. The issue of calling on the parents of these children to go on strike, this, that, here, and so forth, that is not the right approach. We were expecting people like civil society organizations, like what we did yesterday, to engage the government. What is happening with the government? What is happening? What happened yesterday? Let me make it very clear.
The 28th of May has been slated for the exams.
Of course, yeah, that is. So it happened because of our own intervention.
So if Mr. Ndulu didn't go, didn't
he was there yesterday.
So meaning the exams will not hold again?
No. The first interest is to make sure the students, the pupils, sat to the exams. It is very clear. That is the first resolution yesterday. We agreed that we are going to allow those pupils to take their exams. And then Mr. Ndulu, we are on the process to ensure that he's going to resign his position.
But don't say he will not resign.
No, Mr. Ndulu is going to resign. I'm going to say it here very clear that there are a lot of evidences. One, there are a lot of things which Mr. Ndulu and even the WAEC and the people of Sierra Leone don't understand. Government is paying more than 6 billion loans for NPSC. And also, Becker, they are paying more than 7 billion loans. Does the parents know about that?
They are not paying WAEC. WAEC is a service provider.
Government is paying.
But WAEC is a service provider, Bernard. Government is paying that money to us so WAEC could organize the exam, because WAEC is the body that is responsible to organize public exams in the WAEC member state. That's all. Government is just paying WAEC to do a job.
And we have to give kudos to government for that.
Nobody is saying we are not giving kudos to government.
But there is a misconception in the whole process. People believe that maybe parents think that they are paying this money. Whatever the government is doing, let us give kudos to the government. This money is a huge sum of money, and which we believe the public didn't know about this.
No, everybody knows that government is paying for NPSC.
A lot of them don't know about this.
No, but Bernard, many people know that government is paying public examination fees. Nobody doubts that.
To be honest with you, what we are saying here as a civil society organizations, what we resoluted yesterday on our resolutions, that Mr. Ndulu must resign his position, because if he didn't comply to what we said yesterday, we are going to come up with strong evidence against him.
Did you also blame the Minister of Education to have postponed the exam when parents had prepared their children, when the children had studied, had prepared their mind? You know the psychological effect it will have on these children. Do you also blame the ministry for that?
We cannot say we are going to blame the Ministry of Education. We are going to blame Mr. Ndulu, because the lapses came from WAEC, and which is a clear indication.
What did WAEC do?
For instance, Mr. Ndulu should have resigned his position and allowed somebody else to take up.
But how could just the issue of one man affect more than 90,000 candidates?
Because the convention, which is the constitution of WAEC, it is very clear in the convention that if you are off the duty and there's somebody else.
Do you know the background that led to Dulu's extension for 2 months? Do you know the background to that?
Of course, yes.
So what's the background?
Let me make it very clear. There's a letter here from the registrar from Ghana, which is very clear that Mr. Ndulu should have backed off from his position, but because of his working in consonant with the registrar from Ghana, you understand, because of their scene, whatever, there's a kind of intimacy between both of them, so they decided to extend 6 months. And is it that on the letter that there is no competent somebody to take the place of Mr. Ndulu? Nope. There's a lot of people in WAEC who are more competent than Mr. Ndulu.
Okay, well, I think, Bernard, I will not say you are missing the point, but what I know is, what my sources tell me, is that the position of the HNO has been advertised, and 4 people have applied. You understand? 4 people have applied for the position, and because Dulu is the outgoing HNO, he is not eligible to serve as a permanent HNO. So what the registrar said was that Dulu should manage this transition until July 1st, when the new person would have taken the seats. So he's only there to manage the transition.
People applied for the position. Only 3 were shortlisted, and there are people who have been understudying, who have been very close to Mr. Ndulu, and there is another person who is a deputy registrar. You understand? Who are competent to take the position of Mr. Ndulu. Those people were marginalized by Mr. Ndulu. I can say it here. And at the end of the day, what were the intentions of Mr. Ndulu? And it is very clear in the convention that if there's somebody competent in the ministry, in WAEC, whatever it is, Education Council, that is competent to take the position, I think there is beyond all reasonable doubt, there's a need for it, that somebody who's very closer to Mr. Ndulu to take his position.
Okay, thank you very much, Bernard Conte. The program is a Podium coming to you. Now, Ibrahim Tommy, let's also look at some of the recommendations that you profiled, that you've come up with. Let's look at some of the key ones.
Yeah, the key ones include we have recommended that the Sierra Leone police discontinue the MOU with the Orderly Union, because we think it certainly infringes on citizens' right to freedom of association. In the alternative, they can review the MOU to make sure that A, you don't have to belong to the Orderly Union to apply for a police permit. B, they can work with the Orderly Union to ensure that they review their bylaws so that you don't have to give them a 30-day heads up before you can get a police permit. That's the first recommendation. We're also recommending that the Independent Police Complaints Board basically look into these allegations so that they are the competent body, the statutory body responsible for holding the police accountable. That's what the board was set up to do. We also think that, and that's the point that we already made, the SLPP have got to really look at their internal management issues and ensure that there is a central control system. We certainly support the ongoing investigations and trial, but we urge that all of that be done within the confines of the law. Just to make a quick point about some of the things that the minister said, Section 18 of the Public Order Act is very clear. When you apply for a police permit and you do not get it, and you decide to go ahead to organize a procession, what the police have to do, it's a matter of most, is not to go out there and arrest or even release tear gas. What the police have got to do is to disperse And by dispersing...
But isn't that what the police did?
No, well, fine, you see, that's what you do. Wait, the law is very clear. What you do is you ask, perhaps I misspoke, let me rephrase. You ask the protesters to disperse. Not to disperse, but you ask them to disperse. And you can do that by use of a megaphone to say, go away. Now, when they refuse, you arrest them and bring them to court. If they are convicted, they are the fines. But that's one of the points I wanted to make. The other point is, he talked about in other countries, folks are shot by police officers. Yes, in America, we see that all the time. But don't we also, or don't the Americans call for accountability for those police officers who exceed their mandate? Yes, they are tried. Some of them are discharged from the force. Some of them are sent to jail. It's the same thing. When you exceed the powers under the law, wherever in a normal society.
But Tommy, what about those who are saying it was premeditated because people say the SLPP supporters were in their offices. They had these handmade bombs, bottled kerosene and sand, throwing them at the police. So people say it was they who started it and the police responded.
Very well, these are all the allegations that are coming out.
Had they not come out, had they not stoned the police wouldn't have shot at them.
Those are all the allegations, and I keep saying these are all the allegations until we have really an independent investigation. And let's be honest, that's why we have these state institutions. That's why our government is so overburdened, because we've tried to create democratic institutions. That's their mandate. I'm not going to go by the words of the police. No way on this matter, because they are a party to this. I'm not going to support the words of the SLPP. No way, because they are a party to it. What I am commenting on, basically, these are allegations, and we need an independent investigation. When they come up with a report saying, yes, there were handmade bombs, they threw handmade bombs at the police, these are all the words of the police. We haven't had any independent corroboration.
So did you ask the SLPP, did you make some of these allegations known to the SLPP that this is what has been alleged?
It's in
that they did throw bombs?
It is in the statement of the police. The Sierra Leone police issued a statement. That statement is out there.
So what did the SLPP say?
This SLPP, they have also issued a statement. The statement is out there. They have denied these allegations. So it's not for me to say, as a matter of fact, that the SLPP prepared, or folks prepared handmade bombs and threw them at the police. But what I can say clearly is that there were allegations of police brutality, allegations of violence, and you have heard me say that I support the ongoing investigation by the police and that the folks responsible should be held to account. But we must condemn clearly some of these images of police clearly doing in the 21st century, when our laws are progressively repealing these really 13th century measures that the police can use. We shouldn't be condoning the police doing this. Now, the minister talked about hooligans. Whether or not they are hooligans, it's a matter for the courts to convict them and then either impose a fine or send them to jail. No one can, they are presumed innocent, aren't they? That's what the English legal system, and certainly our legal system, that's what it's based on. Okay. If you are guilty as charged, there will be no need to go to court. There will be no need for lawyers.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ibrahim Tomi. Now, Mr. Minister, let's look at another issue you raised in your press conference is the issue of energy. I think, was it not on Tuesday that the president launched the energy revolution? We are in it by 2035 or so. Nearly all the chiefdoms in Sierra Leone should have access to electricity.
It's a policy.
That's very ambitious.
It's a policy statement, but I just want to backtrack a little bit. I think the Sierra Leone police should hire the consultancy of Ibrahim Tomi. He seems to have a better knowledge as to how to address riotous conduct. You know, we'll give you a megaphone next time. I'll talk to them. Anyway, yes, we want to. It's a policy statement from the president, and you know that our government will never miss our promises. We might find some bottlenecks along the road, but believe me, we are not an intentional government. We don't have intention. When we intend, we implement. When the president says, by the time he leaves office, the district headquarter towns should be able to enjoy electricity, he means.
So that's by 2018?
It's a policy statement.
That's very ambitious.
Yeah, of course it is, with the support of the ordinary Sierra Leonean, because we also have a problem of attitude here. You know, attitude of people disconnecting or cutting off pipes or electrical cable, thieves. These are all things that make
Mr. Minister,
it difficult.
people cut the electrical cables if there is no light.
Well, even when there is light.
If there is light, who dare?
Well,
leave
the cable there, hoping that one day we have light. Leave it there. That's all we call for as a government. Leave it there. It's a form of lawlessness. And I want to also let you know that the government has wholeheartedly supports the Ministry of Internal Affairs to go after lawlessness in this country. With the NIG, we are not talking about, and we have lawless thieves moving around, unplugging or doing illegal connection, depriving neighbors who are genuinely paying electrical bills. It's also lawlessness. So the Ministry of Internal Affairs have been given the green light to fight lawlessness. When we say lawlessness, it's not only cutting off cables or cadre riders. Lawlessness at SLBCs, lawlessness with even senior government officials, lawlessness everywhere. And it has also been demonstrated by the president that 2 military officers have been assigned to run the affairs of the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Do you need military men to enforce law?
Well, we all know that when they say soldiers are coming, you run. But sometimes when they say the police are here, people confront them. If it was military officers that went down to the SLPP office, they will run away.
No, but Paulo Conte and Sengu Koma will not. They are not the ones that will be there to enforce the law.
It's the policies.
They are just there.
It is the policies and the
I'm sure
leadership.
the policies are there,
And the
but they've not
leadership.
been implemented.
When the leadership to follow through is what is the disconnect here.
So what's the difference this time? We've had past ministers of internal affairs.
They have been doing their best, but this time.
So is it that they did not get the political support? That
No, they have the political support. They have the political support, but we are talking about the current leadership. The Ministry of Internal Affairs is now being headed by 2 military officers. No nonsense at all. When they say, you Okada, don't try there, you don't have any reason to go there. We are a government. We want to maintain law and order. Believe me, as me, without law and order, all of this beautiful, lofty investment would be meaningless.
But people say you, the politicians, are the ones that are responsible for the lawlessness.
They start from the politician then.
People, yeah.
Start from the politician.
The other day, the Minister of Internal Affairs was just saying those vehicles that ministers are riding shouldn't disguise their number plates.
Of course,
but even yesterday I saw some vehicles. They are being disguised.
It now depends to the police officer who is at duty at that particular time. Stop the vehicle and impound it. It's a policy statement from the
minister. Is that possible, Mr. Bangura?
Of course, why is it possible in advanced democracy where police officers will not want to know who you are?
Well, from above will tell that policeman that don't you know you've arrested the vehicle of that.
Well, we want to see a situation where a police officer has genuinely executed his or her function and that police officer has been reprimanded for stopping a cabinet minister.
Mr. Bangana, let's go to the 21 days being given by the civil society to Guma Valley. People say there should be some overhauling at the Guma Valley.
Let me tell you, Asmiro, I give kudos to the civil society of Bernard and others who came between the Ministry of Education crisis. This is what we want in this country. It is not only to issue ultimatum press releases here and there. Sometimes let us prefer solutions. Sometimes let us dialogue. It's a small country.
Isn't that part of solution?
It's not part of solution.
If you listen to BBC this morning, the Labour Congress in Nigeria,
do you know
they
how
have told the government that
do you know how far they came?
Do
you know how far they came? Ask me. Do you know how far they came? Let's sit down and talk. Sometimes when talks break down, then we have ultimatum. And when they sat down with the Ministry of Education and the educational sector, we got results. That is what matters. If you are genuinely doing your job as a civil society, if you are genuinely doing your job as a politician, sometimes you try to dialogue.
But it was only when the civil society spoke that the government reacted. So had they not spoken, things would have continued.
As you know for sure that we are a listening government.
So you listen. So meaning,
you listen from all shades of society.
Not spoken.
We listen from all. That's me. We listen from all shades of society. That's why we are voted in as a government. We are not a mumu or deaf government. We have to listen to the people.
Okay.
And solutions have now provided. The kids are now going to take their examination. And bear in mind, Bernard made reference of the 6-7 billion leos from government coffer as a subsidy to this examination. So we are feeling the pinch as a government if these examinations are cancelled.
Thank you very much, the Minister. Now, Bishop, as we are rounding up now, what's your plan? What's your dream as a bishop for your for the Nottingham Connection?
Well, since we have taken so long, we want to revive the church. revival is needed, and they want to shift from prosperity gospel or message to salvation message, because we should not be only concentrating on material things, we should concentrate on heavenly things that are spiritual.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Bishop Theophilus Dio, Nipul, Bishop of the Huntingdon Connection of Sale. Now, Bernard, as we are rounding up now, you said Dulu should go, but Dulu is saying he has been given 2 months to stay in office, and by the end of July 1, he should leave his office. So, are you guys not creating more problem than solution?
No, we are not creating much of a problem here. I just want to send a very strong message to our parents out there. Please be calm and make sure your children go and take their classes very serious, and very soon they will attempt to the exams. And for Mr. Ndulu, it's a resolution from the Civil Society, Coalition of Civil Society, which is the Democracy Sierra Leone, Anti-Violence and the Civil Rights Coalition, and National Youth Coalition. Yesterday we had a serious meeting, and we came up with a press statement, and we want to make it very clear that let Mr. Ndulu resign his position, and we are going to pursue that to the last, because there are a lot of lapses within the WAEC system, and we want to see progress in WAEC, and we want to see progress in the educational sector in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
With Mr. Ndulu, it is a hindrance in the whole process.
Well, thank you. Let's go for text messages. On said, Mr. Bangura, what are you going to do for former Comion staff? We are hoping to see progress in that direction. One says police are not working in line with the constitution. They are being used by those in high offices. And one says the report by Carl is very much timely. And one says, are you really patriotic? Why should Mr. Ndulu be an hindrance to the NPSC? The ministry is not seriously minded. Mr. Bangura, why are you justifying the unprofessional acts of the police? And one says, Mr. Bernard, be careful with your utterances. You are on state TV, be minded what you say about people. One says, if there is no independent body to whom the police are accountable for their actions and behavior, the opposition will always be maltreated. And also, this government is not serious about water supply. Or says it is unbelievable for a government minister to sit on national TV and praise the unprofessional behavior of the police. Ibrahim, to me, you are rounding up now.
Just to make the point that we do not condone lawlessness, and this point has been really said a lot. And when we talk about lawlessness in this country, I have the feeling that it's got a demographic tenure. A lot of folks really think that the lawlessness of Okada riders, market women, I condemn that. Let them walk according to law. But there's actually lawlessness in high places, and we should go after them as well. It's not only saying it, it's actually doing it.
So
but this country is a very peaceful country. Let's keep that in mind. The last time we checked, we were, I think, 5th in Africa or even globally. Let's don't give Sierra Leoneans a bad name. We try to create this impression that this country is on fire or everyone is lawless. No, that's not what we are. Sometimes let's communicate what is happening on the ground. And the point is this. Let me make the point about what the former president, running mate, Dr. Kadiza and others did. It really speaks volumes for citizens.